the one thing I did that grew my audience, grew my following bigger than I ever could imagine, and got me brand deals financially and reputably that I literally only dreamed of. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of The 411, your favorite health and wellness hub. I can't believe we're here, and I'm even saying this right now, but season 2, you are listening live to the first episode of season 2. I mean, my heart is overwhelmed with just gratitude and pride and thankfulness for you guys. And also, I'm just really proud of myself and Chloe because we're a 2-woman team, and we work really hard to bring these episodes to you each and every Wednesday, sharing all the wellness tips and tricks that I've learned that I hope that you're embodying to be your better self. But let's get into it because I'm really excited to talk about what we're talking about today. It's currently January 3rd. Let me guess, you're on your way to the gym, or you've been actively going to the gym. You're seeing faces you barely recognize. If you are one of the faces that are new there, you're seeing people you don't usually know. You know what I mean? You're going to the treadmill like, do I walk on this? Do I run on this? And I'm not shaming anyone for this. That is just the energy of the new year. It's a time where everyone just feels this unanimous vibe to show up and commit to being their best selves. And I'm so glad you're doing that. I'm so proud of you. But I want to talk about doing it in a way that actually produces results and longevity. So a big issue I've been having recently on TikTok especially are these like get rich quick, get famous quick, get skinny quick scams. That's what I'm going to call them, because in the hooks are like, the one thing I've been doing for the new year to be my best self, the one thing that's been making my audience go viral, the one thing that makes people watch my videos so much. And the common theme I'm seeing between all this is a formula. There is no one formula to being your best self. As someone who's tried the formulas, I'm telling you, they don't work. Maybe they may work in the beginning, but they don't work in the long run, and they take time. If you listen to my last episode, I talked about setting approachable and accurate goals for the new year. So now that you're in the new year, I hope you're applying yourself to those goals. But if you didn't listen to that episode, go listen to that episode. But I also want to talk about, from a personal standpoint, the detriment it does to you when you are just doing something, you know what I mean, for the moment. And if you're like, what does it look like to do something for the moment? It means you've never been to the gym all of 2023, but now you've gone 5 times a week in 2024. That is not sustainable. That is not realistic, because you're forcing yourself to do this routine you're overcommitting, you know what I mean? And you want to ease a routine into your life. I think it takes 90 days for a routine to be like set into your day-to-day. You have 90 days to figure it out. You don't need to get it all figured out in that first week. And that is just the energy I do not want to see from the 401 community, because you guys are so much better than that. And I really want you to be instilling long-term commitment and change. And as someone who's lived my life doing New Year's resolutions like that, going to the gym 4 times a week before, when I never did at all, it didn't last. It wasn't sustainable. And I specifically in this episode want to talk about how I got into content creation and accrued the following and audience that I have and the brand partnerships that I have, because it was not following a formula. So let's take it back. In the beginning, when I first joined TikTok, I followed the formula. The first round of me trying to follow the formula was me doing the dancing TikToks. And let me tell you, that was just straight up embarrassing. I looked ridiculous. I looked silly. And at the core of it, why I didn't thrive and take off. I mean, I can't be the only one. Everyone, you saw the people who were dancing literally becoming, look at the D'Amelios. They literally have created an empire from her dancing. You know what I mean? So this was at a time where people were like, if you just get on this app and dance, it's that simple. People will be paying you $100,000 to, you don't even blow up. And it sounded that simple. And I tried it because it was during COVID. And did I pop off? Did I blow up? No. First of all, I am not a professional dancer. Not saying the people on TikTok are, because they just aren't. But that just wasn't my way to accrue the audience I was looking for. And I'm so glad it happened that way. And I'm going to get into why. So then the second approach was me finally discovering I had to take a step back and be like, why do you want to be online? What do you want to share with your audience? Like, what's your why? Why are you here? You know what I mean? I feel like the TikTok is filled, oversaturated with people just being there, showing up. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm not limiting, but I'm just focusing on TikTok right now because I feel like recently TikTok has just been pushing these and TikTok, the app, is definitely pushing it too, because the amount of just videos I've seen saying like, this is the one thing. And I know I said like, this is the one thing, but my one thing is true and honest, and it's not a formula. You know what I mean? So then the second time when I joined TikTok, I realized my why was skincare and beauty. For those who don't know, I'm a full-time model. When I first started modeling, I naturally fell into the beauty lane. My first clients were Revlon and Maybelline, if they had a daughter. Revlon, Maybelline, YSL Beauty. And quickly I learned that I am a beauty girl, and I just started getting all these incredible opportunities to model for beauty brands. And something I had the privilege of being on set of these high-end world-renowned beauty brands is getting to talk to world-renowned makeup artists, world-renowned skin estheticians, like nail artists, the best of the best for everything. And best believe I would pick their mind and learn. Like, I was taking notes when they did my makeup in the makeup chair. I was writing down. This is when Weleda Skin Food was like new, and no one knew about Weleda Skin Food, but like all the makeup artists were using Weleda Skin Food. And so I just started taking down extremely amazing notes on what they were using on my skin and what they were using on set, and then purchasing the products to use at home. And it was when I did that through discovery, I discovered about Dr. Barbara Sturm. And I got a facial from her. I mean, the story, if you don't know the story, go to my TikTok, the Kiki Glow. Like, I got a facial by her, walked by the mirror, couldn't believe the woman I saw looking at me. I was just so impressed by the way she had elevated my skin and really just took it to that next level. And so that's why I accredit Dr. Barbara Sturm for like getting me my skin to where it is today, that now I can use a plethora of products. You know what I mean? But it was because of her and that experience and that I'm here today. It's just the way the cookie crumbled. And by working with her and wearing those skincare products, I got really into skincare, and like my just skincare curiosity and world just, it blew up. You know what I mean? I was just doing so much research. I would go to Sephora. I just saw what all the Sephora girlies were using, what they said was selling at the time. I wasn't that big on TikTok. You know what I mean? It wasn't like my choice of search engine the way it is today. But I also had friends who worked in the beauty industry, heard the brands that they were talking about, heard the brands that at this time, some of them were influencers, seeing what they were getting sent. And I would purchase the products with my own hardworking money. At the time, I was modeling and also working at Lululemon on the side to have another alternate income, because I couldn't just live off of modeling because it wasn't consistent enough. And it was by purchasing these products and trying these products that I naturally gained a true interest for them. So about a year later, I was like, I want to give TikTok another try. And I knew this time I was coming with a purpose in my why. I was coming as a model, a beauty model who's on set and has access to established people that most everyday people don't have access to. And originally, I didn't think like, oh, I'm going to be big from this, I'm going to blow up. No, it started because on set, I would learn things in text, like my cousins, my mom, my family group chat, my friends would be like, you won't believe it. This is what like YSL beauty team is using to do this. This is how they make the skin look incredible. And we would try it at home and we're like, oh my God, that's how you get the flawless skin. You know what I mean? That's the products people are using. That's the celebrity makeup artist. That's what it really came down to. I finally was in a room with like celeb makeup artists and could genuinely ask them, what do you use when you do Gigi Hadid's makeup? Hailey Bieber's makeup, you know what I mean? Things like that. And I got to know. And I figured, why not share this beauty modeling journey with this TikTok community to give them access to the tips and tricks that most people don't have access to. And in the beginning, I had genuinely no numerical goal. I was just posting the post. I remember I had a cool idea of being like, oh, people always compliment me on my lip gloss and what lip glosses I'm wearing. So I'll do Lippy of the Week and talk about the lip product I'm wearing that day and why I love it so much. And then it expanded to, oh my gosh, I literally dropped $700 on a skincare routine. That's another story for another day. Literally used my whole paycheck to get Dr. Barbara Sturm's skincare line. But rather than letting all that money go to waste, well, it didn't go to waste because look at the skin you see looking back at you. But even more importantly, why don't you talk about it? Why don't you talk about why a girl at 21 who did not have the money to spend that chose to spend, I mean, you guys really don't know. I talk about this on TikTok. Again, go check it out. But like the facial took my whole skincare line that when I needed to go home, I didn't have enough money for the Metro card. I had to call my mom and be like, could you genuinely come pick me up because the money is gone? You know what I mean? And of course, I always talk about everything leads you down a path and like trust your intuition, because doing that facial, me today is just now 2 years later. I'm like, that facial jump-started a lot of opportunities. You know what I mean? But that was something I brought to my TikTok community. I remember at the time, Barbara Sturm was this like omnious brand that I feel like only like the rich of the rich used, or like Honestly, yeah, just the rich of the rich. I don't really know anyone else who really use it. And so Oprah, you know what I mean? Again, the rich of the rich. So I was like, what a cool opportunity to talk to my audience as someone coming who's not the rich of the rich, you know what I mean? Who got a Revlon check, was deciding to invest back in my skin, and decide or share with you guys why I felt the facial was worth it, and after trying the entire skincare line, what specific products I felt were worth repurchasing and which I haven't repurchased since then. And that naturally just led to more organic content creation. And that's what I'm trying to get to the core at. When you're following these formulas to set your New Year's resolutions, when you're following these formulas to go viral on TikTok, Instagram, any kind of other platform, when you're following these formulas that aren't you, or that someone else is telling you, these days, I feel like there's so many growth strategists for social media on TikTok. I'm like, what university did you all not saying you need to go to university, but I'm like, what school did you go to that you all got this infamous degree that now everyone is entitled to have? But I feel like what's lacking in all those formulas is your personal, who you are. When these people are sharing their top tips and strategies online, they're talking generally. This is not a one-on-one consultation. It may feel like that because you're scrolling on TikTok, and they're really good at the hooks being like, this is why your video isn't getting a lot of views. This is how you go viral. But they're not specifically talking to you. You did not pay them to consult your page and understand you as a person and really dive into how you can gain momentum. So you need to take a step back and really think about what you're offering the community. And know, if you're offering something genuine and honest and with a purpose, you will grow. It may not be overnight. And I'm going to get into why you don't want overnight success. And I've studied people who've been overnight successes, who've risen and fallen real quick. And this is why you don't want to do that. But you just have to stay true to yourself and be honest and authentic, because it'll grow. So essentially what happened is I just kept posting organic videos. I did not have a big audience. I cannot emphasize this enough. At the time, the thing that really I give credit to Dr. Barbara Stern for elevating my overall skincare, you know what I mean, skincare routine, and like increasing or opening that door of diving into more skincare and the products and the routine. But can you guys guess who I give credit to helping my career? Pew! Rhode, Hailey Bieber, Lauren Ratner, Taylor, like the entire Rhode team. I love those girls to my heart, because when they reach out to me at the time, I had brand partnerships, you know what I mean? Were they insane brand partnerships in terms of like brands that were on my dream list to work with? No. There were, at that time, I was just taking what I could get, you know what I mean? I've always been like true to myself in terms of, I'm down to try, the founder seems cool, you know what I mean? I'm down to explore this. And in the beginning, when you're just trying to get started, you just take what you can get, you know what I mean? I was just honored. I remember at the beginning, they were like, do you want this product for free? And I was like, oh my God, you want to send me products for free? I was like, like, it felt like Christmas in April, you know what I mean? And then when they started being like, we'll pay you $150, you know what I mean? And this is also another thing. If you can get a mentor, it's incredible to get a mentor, because I have an incredible mentor, and she was the one who kind of made me realize, like, okay, now you should be charging, but that's another conversation for another day. By naturally just posting, and I'm telling you, that's what I was going to say, my following was not big. On Instagram, I had about 2,000 followers, and on TikTok, I had even less, maybe 900. Rhode reached out to me, and they're like, Hailey Bieber's launching her first skincare line, and we would love if we could send you the new collection and you be a part of it. And that wholeheartedly was solely because I had showed up for months, not getting a lot of likes, not getting a lot of views, but just being my 100% authentic self. And they saw that, and they connected with that, and they related with that. And I know Rhode is not the only brand to do that. Most brands. I'm now in a position, guys, I've worked with any brand you probably know I've worked with. I'm not even trying to flex right now. I'm just speaking straight facts. And I can tell you from working with those brands today are looking for authenticity. They're looking for honesty. They're not looking for someone who just posts, or brands you want to work with, I should say. They're not just looking for people who post a hook to go viral. Of course, they want to see things perform. Of course, they want that audience to see the reach, you know what I mean? But they know if you're authentic, if you're honest, then your community will naturally believe what you're saying. They won't have to buy into what you're saying, because you always show up for your audience. You always show up for your community. And that's something I had to learn. And for me, getting recognized by Rhode was a major turning point, because it finally felt like my hard work and just being honest and authentic, my authentic self had paid off. And from then on, it just opened a lot of doors, and it's organic. You know what I mean? When you work with a brand and they repost you, they're then sharing you to their audience. And when they share you to their audiences, people in the audience who are like, oh, I like her, I'll follow her. You know what I mean? And so the growth is organic. It's natural. You don't need to buy followers. When I heard that was the thing, I'm like, that's ridiculous. You just do not need to do that. You will grow naturally and organically and authentically when it's meant to be. And I have now been, since Rode, I worked with Rode a year ago. When was Rhode's first birthday? I mean, I think it's like March or something, but, or is it January? I can't remember. Whatever. I've worked with them over a year now. And to say in a year's time, in 1 year, I'm where I am today, having worked with the brands. I mean, Caudalie. One sec. I will literally flex on you guys real quick. I had to make a media kit for clients. And when I sat down and kind of examined all the brands I had worked with, I was in awe of myself, because I think often, I say this a lot, I don't take time to really reflect on how far I've come and all the brands I've had the opportunity to collaborate with. And it's just truly a blessing. It's a gift, and I'm so fortunate for. But guys, I mean, Revlon, Merit, Bioma, Ilia, Summer Fridays, Elizabeth Orden, Dior, Caudalie, Supergoop, You to the People, Tatcha, Era Perez, Kylie Skin, L'Occitane, Flowers Beauty, Clinique. I mean, the list goes on. And those all came after I just showed up as my authentic self and honest self, and they just saw the personality. And even in emails, when they reach out to me, they're like, Kiki, we're obsessed with your page. We love your personality. We love how honest you are. It's the same line every time. And they're not saying that for no reason. They're saying that because I'm just showing up as who I am. And I know this sounds cliche. You know, when you're young, your parents are like, there's no one like you. You're special just as you are. That's when that comment actually holds some truth, because I'm not the only girl on TikTok talking about like skincare. I'm not the only girl on TikTok talking about natural beauty, clean beauty, how to look elevated. I'm not the only model. But the reason why I have the community I have and the following I have is because I say it in my way. I say it in my style. And people are going to be receptive to when you're talking about you and just being honest from you. So just remember that when you're setting on to accomplish your New Year's goals, when you're setting on to participate in the TikTok community and offer the audience something. And that is the one way I'm telling you, you'll see longevity growth. You can't be in TikTok for the short game. You can't be in content creation for the short game. I mean, I think when you take on the role as an influencer, you have a very important duty to properly and accurately and honestly guide your audience and your community in the right way. And the second you defy them, it's detrimental, because people can see through the dishonesty. People can see through the inauthenticity. I know people have said like, oh, if you want to make quick money, take this job and talk about the clothes. I mean, if you really can try, I don't know everyone's money situation, but if you can try to avoid that, I'm telling you, try to avoid it, because while you're simultaneously being 100% yourself and sharing what you love, you're building a brand. And when you're building a brand, it's very important and essential to be that brand. You know what I mean? And obviously, when you are the brand, you are the brand. Don't get me wrong. My mom likes shopping at Fashion Nova. I don't. That's not a part of my brand. But that is a part of her brand. You know what I mean? If a certain company is a part of your brand, Paloma Wool, I would say, is a part of my brand. That's fine for it to be different, but you just need to stay true to yourself and not take things for the sake of money, think of instant fame. No, I can't tell you how many brands I've said no to incredible paychecks. And did it hurt? Of course it did, guys. Again, there's no like trust fund waiting for me to like tap into to withdraw money when I'm declining the funds. No, but I just stayed true and listened to my intuition and knew deep down inside, by staying true to myself, this was going to lead to something more lucrative, more longevity, and just more honest in the long run. And that leads me into my second thing, imposter syndrome. Now, maybe you don't label how you feel as imposter syndrome, but let's just say if you're not showing up as your most authentic self, when you're releasing content, filming content, sharing it with your audience, there may be a sense of apprehension, especially when that content then goes viral. I feel like there's this like yearn for virality as if it's the most amazing thing, but there's a good and bad sense of your content being amassed to 1 million people. You know what I mean? Especially when you aren't being honest and true to yourself. So if you are following a formula and then that's how you take off and then you get 1 million views, there can be a lot of pressure I'd be like, okay, what do I produce next that my audience will also love? Now that I have a million of these new friends, what do they want to see? What can I share that will make them keep liking my content and commenting on my content? And oftentimes people will discover then the next video, when you have your one moment of like going viral, the next thing you post doesn't really perform that well. And it can feel defeating and like you kind of feeling lost. And that's why you have to go back. Also, a lot of times when you go viral, it's not planned. One of my most performing videos, I was in Tahiti. No, I was in Tenerife, Tahiti. I'm dead. I was in Tenerife for a model campaign. Literally decided not to go to dinner with the rest of the cast because I wasn't feeling well. Took a nice long hot shower, did my skincare, put my hair in a towel, and laid in bed and talked about an article that came out about how Bella Hadid used Dr. Barbara Sturm. You think I planned for that video to go viral? No. I was in a robe, in bed. The lighting wasn't even good, and I was just yapping away, rambling, and was like, let me just have some fun. Pew! The video shot off. After that, I was like, oh my God, what if I do another video like this? Will it perform better? And then I think when you start thinking too deep into it, then it becomes a formula. And my point is, you can't make everything a formula. It has to be natural, it has to be organic, and it has to flow. And the second you allow it to do so, when things do pop off, you really just won't care. You'll be like, oh, incredible, like that video hit 1 million views, but like I already have a plan, and I know that each and everything I'm sharing with my audience is equally as important, hosts a boatload of gems, and it will still be as impactful. And so it won't make you feel as uncomfortable. I'm hoping that it will eliminate that sense of imposter syndrome, because again, when you're showing up as your most authentic and honest and true self, who are you impostering? I mean, I today am sitting here as Kiki Ransom in her truest form. So there's nothing to feel uncomfortable and weird about, or me feeling like I'm being someone else, because literally this is just who I am. And problem solved. No, I'm kidding. It's not that simple, but I hope that when you just learn to also discover who you are. And I feel like I'm making this part of the process seem so simple. The longest part of this journey was me really discovering who I am. You know what I mean? And if you don't 100% feel like you know who you are, then embrace and you're comfortable with sharing that journey on TikTok. That's a totally different story. Maybe there's so many people who have come online to social media super young and have grown with their community online. You know what I mean? That's so fine. But I think if you're allowing your audience in, filling them in on that part of your world and that part of your life, and keeping them looped in on how you're elevating, how you're growing, how you're changing, and discovering who you are, it's totally fine. But for me, I did a lot of that self-work on the outside. So by the time I came onto social media, you know what I mean? It took some experimentation, but I found my groove. And the groove that I feel performs the best is just knowing your lane, skincare and beauty and wellness, you know, but skincare and beauty is the main one, and knowing why you're here and what you want to share and what makes that information different and impactful and helpful. And you don't want to burn out. I feel like when people are just showing up being someone else or not feeling like 100% their self, that will lead to burnout. Burnout is inevitable. It'll happen at all times of the day. I'm someone who feels like I'm very true to myself, and even I get super exhausted and super tired and have to like have a serious talk with myself and be like, Kiki, take a step back, put in some boundaries, sleep in today, get some rest. But burnout will especially grab you real quick if you are not showing up as your most authentic self, because it's already a lot of work being yourself and trying hard and grinding and hustling and working. Now imagine doing all that, trying to be somebody else, not really knowing who you are. I mean, at this point, you're working 3 jobs. You know what I mean? You're trying to be a content creator, you're trying to be someone else, and you're not even doing it authentically. Don't do it to yourself. And I think at the end of the day, it has to come with esteem. Know that you are great enough just as you are, sharing the information that you have in the style that you want to do. I think when you really want to find your own lane, don't look at social media, don't look at TikTok, don't look what other people are doing, because it will cloud your judgment. And that's something I very much instill, not only with my own content creation, but with Chloe and I when we're editing and filming content for the 411. I very rarely will be like, oh, let's see what so-and-so is doing to see how we can incorporate, because I know that it can so easily influence you and then make your style like their style. And you just have to stay true to yourself. You just have to stay, I keep using this word authentic, but I just want to get it through your brain that is the one way I found to see true growth and success and abundance. And it's when you see longevity. And I think this is the perfect place to wrap it up. The one thing you have to do to grow your audience, get a true audience of followers, see monetization, see brand deals you never thought you would see with brands you never thought you would talk to, is to be 100% yourself. When you are 100% yourself, that is when the money shows up. That is when the budget grows. That is when the audience comes and stays, because you're not just growing a following, you're growing a community. And that is why I so intentionally use that word when talking about my following. That is my community that I've taken time, years to build, to gain trust with, and to really instill all my time and energy into. It is no easy job to show up here and set up my lights. And this is also for season 2. We now have studio lights. I don't know if you can tell because we look amazing, but this is no easy job to invest my personal money in the mics, in the lights. It's no easy job to wake up and film my skincare routine, talk about my makeup routine, talk about the ingredients. It takes time, it takes energy. So the same way that audience is learning and trusting you, know that you're also learning and trusting them when you're showing up and giving all that effort to groups and groups of people. You have to do it with intention, and you have to do it because it's what you honestly want to be doing. And again, talking about burnout, that's what leads to burnout. If you're not doing something that you 100% love, that you feel like your heart is in, that you feel like you have a greater goal. I know when I share my skincare and all kind of wellness entities, and even when I'm sitting here talking to you guys, the greater goal is that it's impacting others to elevate their own personal journey. That is my why. That is why I sit in this seat every week and invest my personal money in everything you see, because I'm that dedicated to seeing the overall elevation and community growth in the wellness department. So I hope this was a great introduction into season 2. I know I said it in the last episode, but I cannot wait, and I mean that with sincere emphasis, to show you the guests we have lined up for you. I mean, did Kiki Ransom do her thing. And it really just showed me how many people, no matter the fall, I'm talking like people with huge communities, but it just shows how many people are dedicated to seeing the true elevation and overall reach of wellness have a greater impact. And they were that excited to come here and connect with you guys on ways that they've elevated in their own personal realm so that you guys can do it too. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I literally keep doing like the corporate gulp, like, because I'm literally just out here spitting facts. But I'm going to wrap it up. I'll see you guys next week. And I love you guys so much. And I'm just really, really excited, if you can't tell. And I can't wait to share with you guys. So, see you next week.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is Tuesday, August 29th. There will never be a Tuesday, August 29th, 2023. Actually, there will never be this moment or this second or this hour. Be positive, be happy, drink your water, be joyful, be thankful. Do not compare yourself to others. The goal in life is to define what makes you happy. Is you against you.
Thank you so much for watching another episode of the 411. I'll never stop saying thank you for you guys' endless support. And just a reminder, when you press subscribe, it does so much for the podcast, for me as a brand. And so please don't forget to press subscribe, leave thoughts about the way the episode made you feel, and show that love. So thank you so much.